Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Harifin's Book Club. We are here for the show introducing Super Genesis. And you got my homeboy Breeze. Go ahead, introduce yourself, brother.
What's up, everybody? I am Breeze. We so excited to share Super Genesis with y'all. It's this is volume one. Without further ado,
All right, so today we get into the show. So we're really going to just be explaining just who we are and what we're representing with the club, and we like to really introduce with a strong and powerful introduction to tarot. So that's why we have these two cards here. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Breeze explain the Devil card. What you think about this, brother?
okay. So just starting off, why we even choose these cards to represent ourselves is that we're basing it off our moon signs, right? So my moon sign is Capricorn, hence the devil. AD moon sign is Virgo. And basically what Super Genesis is doing is filling that void, because we are the Heroes Fans Book Club, and the Hero Fan card is that fixed nature in between. So basically this is where the devil and the hermit meets at the Hero Fans Book Club. Because, going back to what we were saying about the Hero Fan card and the letter Vol representing a nail, literally the Hero Fans Book Club is that nail that's linking the devil and the hermit together.
Yeah, because and like the Hierophant is also like it's a symbol for giving out profound knowledge, really in deeping into esoteric studies, religious studies.
The rabbi, the priest, the imam, the
Yes.
shaman.
Yeah, man. I was trying to think of another names.
Man, there's
But
more out there.
man, so many. So
The yogi, the Buddha,
yeah, so we get though that really just embodies what we kind of need to practice, because when we said the nail, it was in that embodiment of two, figures, the soul and the man, him being the prism, so we have to really putting that light in us in that meditative part within the card.
Right.
So the overall purpose is really to like bring in a higher consciousness, because esoteric study is the one thing that is built upon our world, because this type of knowledge is really kept from us back then when you really think about it.
And so this production, the abstract, we kind of want to just like present this as like we in school, we students, and this is one of our projects. So the overall purpose of the Hero Fence Book Club is to encourage the collective to seek out higher consciousness and to learn, study, and build and practice out of what a good friend named Al-Kahad, the author of holography, calls semio, which is spirituality, esoteric, metaphysical ideologies, and occult subjects. So becoming a practitioner based on this information, not just reading it for fun. If you want to, you want to, but we don't do that. We're into applying, semio.
Yeah, and really get into the habit of applying is the main thing, because you'll be surprised how the metaphysical is the main thing that helps you in your life. And I'm not talking about getting like fancy things or whatever, but it's understanding that we got to build a life in a quantum world and charge ourselves, just like how we do with anything in our life. So, and this is one thing that is neglected, and that's what shows a lot of man to be within war with himself.
Mm-hmm.
So, our one main thing is like to really understand is the Hebrew alphabet, understanding the Bible, the 5 books of Moses, the Torah, because the correspondence within them is too crazy. Reading the Bible, seeing how tarot cards connect. You have the 3 mother letters that are connected within the Bible, and those are the sons of Jacob or Abraham. I'm messing up now. Remember
Wait,
Shem,
what'd you
Ham,
say?
and the 3 mother letters. They're the name of
Oh yeah, Aleph, Shin. Can you point your mouse on them?
yeah, I got you. So you got
Aleph, the first one.
Aleph right
Top.
here, and then you got Shin at the bottom saying 2.
Wait, I don't see your mouse.
You don't see the mouse?
Nah, it's probably not letting you show it because it's in presentation mode.
Yeah, you probably
But
right.
yeah, but Aleph is the top right, which is the element of air or the full card. Shin is the bottom one, the second from the left. Shin represents fire or the planet Uranus. And then the hangman Mem is, I would say, the second row from the bottom on the right. And Mem represents water, also Neptune. And those are the 3 mother letters. Basically denoting that those elements are in the hierarchy of how energy works and how it is expressed. It starts out, from fire, intuition, air being thought, mental, and water being your emotions. But before we get off on a tangent, the theory of all this is that there's an undeniable correspondence between tarot and Torah. The Torah being the first 5 books of the Bible in Judaism, it's also called the Pentateuch, hence Penta 5. It's also called the 5 books of Moses. And Tarot, it's 78 cards used for divination. Divination is just a process of foretelling the future or learning something or pulling some type of information from the unseen world. It's fortune telling and things like that. And this 78 card deck is made up of 22 major arcana cards and 56 minor arcana cards. It has 4 suits representing the elements and court cards. In totality, Tarot represents the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah is that symbol at the bottom left. We'll get to all of this.
Yeah. And one thing you really want to remember about Kabbalah, the meaning of Kabbalah is to receive. So I feel like that's the key note you want to really remember, to receive.
Receive light, receive knowledge. Yep. More theory.
Yeah, more theory, but Tarot is really compact a lot of symbolism, and that symbolism help us understand reality. So, but don't let the symbolism get you too far out of context, if that makes sense. But understanding that the symbolism help us portray, because symbols help us speak to our soul.
And with the term that we coin, we trademark it, don't steal our shit, it's registered, all that. Symbols are the direction, not the destination. Symbols are the directions, not the destination.
Yes.
Which means that symbols are directing you towards something. You can't get hung up on, a symbol and worshiping a symbol and not know the forces that this symbol represent. Symbols are nothing more than veils or what you call them, middleman. And for an example, we have, well, I'll just read it. For example, the number 7 on the Kabbalah represents Venus, and this planet relates to Friday, responsibility and love. Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So now you have an earth and air quality, which is nothing but physical and mental qualities. And that's all in the number 7. And over to the right, you'll see the Venus symbol, and you'll see Taurus and Libra up under it. Those two are ruled by Venus. And I mean, this example is just to show you how symbols don't just say one thing,
And they're not.
They like KFC. They packed with a bunch of different herbs and spices. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one thing, but it's made up of a multitude of things.
I like that.
What you was about to say?
No, I was just trying to help them understand, like, symbols are not evil. Like, someone can make you believe something about a symbol, but once you get into the symbolism, then it connects you to all of it. But this is our hypothesis. From studying the Torah and the Tarot, we will deepen the understanding of both and become highly competent in the ability to comprehend the reality and align with the purpose of existence. So we have to understand that these letters are a representation of our life and our world, because 7 of the letters represent the planets. 3 mother letters represents the founding elements that make the reality. So fire, water, and air. So deepening our understanding around that will help us understand Kabbalah, Torah, Pentateuch, the Bible, because they're all one and the same, just different names.
Yeah, no, really, yeah. And that's the beauty of symbols, you know what I mean? Just like you have a bunch of different deities in different cultures, but they all point to the same, story or same meaning, same energy. What we have up here is, another thing, just to piggyback on what you were saying, what we are aiming to do is just to give people a framework for exercising that symbol decoding muscle in the brain, like sharpening that ability to like see through symbols and really get the information that's needed. And this excerpt is from this book called John Dee and the Empire of Angels by Jason Lowe. And I'll just read it. Hermeticism thus assumes that nature is a language of similarities and connections, and that all aspects of the universe may be sorted based on their essences. It is the study of connections, resemblances, and analogies between the aspects of nature. In this, it is much closer to how artists think than modern scientists, as it is concerned with the metaphorical resonances of images and objects within the natural world, and the way in which their contemplation affects the human soul. So basically, it's saying that symbology represents all these things that we're talking about, from astrology, health, your name, the symbology of who you are, which is your natal chart, things like that, and how these symbols are basically the middleman between you and whatever you're seeking out. And then it goes on to say, "Thee sought the real cabal of nature," and basically how to read nature itself as an open book. So symbols are training wheels. They're crutches. Once again, they're not the destination; they're the direction. So the end goal is to be able to, like I was talking to AD the other day. He said, "Man, sometimes I just put my tarot cards down and do a reading looking at the clouds, and to understand like everything that we need to know is always around us. Once we understand the forces that put the clouds in the sky, the forces behind the mechanics of how clouds work, then the clouds will start to speak to us. Then the clouds will start answering our questions. Because that's the end goal. Not to have to use tarot, not to have to use astrology. Literally go for a walk, look at the trees, hear the birds chirping, watch the river flow, things like that.
Yeah. And another thing I want to put, I said this earlier, but I want to say it all together because I forgot one part. But when we talk about these symbols, like another example would be the Hebrew letters, because the three mother letters, Aleph, Mem, and Shem, represent the elements. Then you have the 7 double letters representing the planets, and then the 12 other letters that represent the zodiac. That's the one part I didn't mention. I said the planets and the 3 mother elements. So once you understand those symbols, yeah. So once you understand those symbols and letters, then you'll get like the metaphors, But now, when we get into the first book and why we call it Super Genesis, as you can say, and I'm gonna just go ahead and simply read it to you because this is the etymology of the word. Old English Genesis, first book of Genesis, which tells among other things of the creation of the world. From Latin Genesis, generation, nativity, and late Latin taken as the title of the first book of the Old Testament. From Greek Genesis, origin, creation, generation, from Genesis, I went to public school, I'm sorry, to be born, related to genos, race, birth, descent, the root, give birth, beget, and Greek translators use this word as the title of biblical book, written in Hebrew, birth, seed, literally, and beginning. So, and the way we broke it down to really decode it, before you even get to SIS, you have gene, and we really want to help you understand to activate the super gene within you, because this is relating to the power within you, and we're trying to help you activate that because only you can apply that work, because the activation that your soul basically has for you, only you know that, but understanding these teachings makes things easier. They get rid of the confusion, as you can say, if you're in the code.
And it just made me think too, how we were talking about the Hierophant card, which I'm trying to find, and how that card represents a nail, and how did you describe it? Like the physical body?
Yeah, the body being the grounding cord for the soul. It's basically the harbinger for the soul. Because the nail is the root. When you nail something into there, it's stuck. So what's the soul stuck in? The body, and the body can represent the nail that's on the earth.
Connecting the divine to the it's all divine, but connecting the energetic to the physical.
Yeah, because it's like the avatar, as you could say, where it bridges between 2 worlds.
Yeah. So
it's
like basically say the Hierophant card represents genes, represents DNA. And I think it's perfect the Hero Fans Book Club is doing, you know,
Yeah, because if when you look
oh,
at the
boom.
card, it's like a whole the 5 pointed star and the star within really represents the micro and macrocosm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the five senses of man and the five points of man. You know, so and then I just think I just had it, but I kind of lost it. But it just dealt with the Hierophant. But it'll come back to me though.
The Hero Fan. Was it about the art?
Yeah, it was about the art. It's cool. It'll come back. It'll come back.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Now, when we got into, I'm gonna go ahead and let you take the ball and dunk
You
them.
turned down the music a little bit.
Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay. Got some heat coming out the oven. All right, so this is the data portion of our presentation. So we're just gonna start with what we got here. God equals Elohim, which equals the 7 Hermetic principles, which is the grand symbol. And we'll just call him Elohim. Created heaven and earth. It was kind of like setting the poles, you know, heaven and earth being a pole, but 2 sides of the same pole. Heaven being abstract or non-physical. So what we're saying is that heaven symbolically means something that's abstract, something that's non-physical, and earth being something physical or concrete. Heaven is air, which represents thoughts and ideas, and earth would be manifestation. So up under there is the 7 Hermetic principles. You got mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Now, the most important one is the one in bold: all is mind, the universe is mental. And in that, all of these, the other 6 Hermetic principles are expressed. Everything is mind. Mind is all. This is the true Elohim. This is the true God. Everything is created in the mind. Nothing happens outside of mind. And the key thing here is that it's very abstract. Everything starts out in a non-physical sense, and the reason that we're calling the mind the grand symbol is because the mind is the symbol. You know what I mean? It's the only symbol. Everything is represented within the divine mind. If you can follow what I'm saying. And from there, the multitudes of symbols that are in the divine mind, because the divine mind embodies all symbols. So, and everyone has their own mind operating within the divine mind, but not to get too paradoxical. So this is where we're starting.
And really like get into the all is mind and universe is mental, because in the beginning of the story, you really have like the author really trying to paint a picture to you. And that's all within your head. And then you have understanding that Elohim spoke this. He spoke this to the waters. So understanding that your mind is the bridge to heaven and hell. And you can say heaven and hell is one and the same because your body, as we broke down nail, your body is that representation of that temple and that balance between the mediator of both worlds. It's just that your body, you just think that we're in bodies, but our mind creates that. Even when we go to sleep, what are we in? Bodies. So we have to understand the vibration, that nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. So we're living with that. I was watching some videos, and a guy would say, touch your table and look away. What you see is your table, but when you look away, the table's disappeared. So that's basically you witnessing that you're touching atoms. So that's to help you understand that correlation of mind is all and that vibration. Because what we're seeing is a high vibratory level of life.
Mhm.
Even through these computers, what they're emitting to create this technology for us to see each other across here is.
Yeah, it's mind boggling when you put it like that.
Mhm. But I want us to really like understand. So I want to pull it up. The So right here we have, just like the book in front of you. What we're on is Bible Gateway. You can go to just on your phone app, or you can go to the website. But I just want you just to have the words right in front of you, so you can just like read, and we can talk about a little bit and why we're using these hermetic principles to help us understand this data within the chapter. Because if you have to understand the hermetic principles for you to even kind of get the first chapter of Genesis, because of just how what's the word you could put it, read. So like they're explaining things, but they're not being so straightforward. Like they are, but the straightforwardness is so, apparent.
Right, right. It's how the divine mind is basically creating. How this is basically how creation came to be.
And understanding that.
It's like the beginning of literally creation. When you are creating something, these are the steps that are happening, you know. But it's written in such a symbolic way that it's easy to just read and be like, wow, that's deep, but not really, once again, you can easily be in awe by the symbology of this of the first chapter of Genesis. You can easily find yourself stuck at the directions, and just be like, wow, I got a map of the world. But what good is that? You know what I mean? If you're not about to jump off the porch with it,
Mm.
and really go to those places that's on the map. Same thing here. What's the point of reading something that's alchemical, metaphysical, um, and something that's just straight up powerful? If you're not taking the next step to become a practitioner and really investigate and you know, see what you get. You know.
Because this is what we're showing you right here is really how you decode the symbolism. To decode the symbolism, you first have to understand the words because words create a reality. You know, and what right now, what the Elohim is doing is speaking things into reality. Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters. Let it separate the waters from waters, and God made the expanse separate the waters that were underneath the under the expanse from waters that were above the expanse. So you can look at that for so many ways, but the best way to interpret biblical literature is to look at it as a reflection of you, because it's better to understand it that way. Is instead to look at all this jargon, because it's a lot of jargon about metaphysical, historical, um, you literally geographical, you know. So the best way is to look at it as in you, understanding the four elements, reflecting your emotions, water, understanding your spirit, fire, looking into your thoughts, air, understanding your physical body, earth. If you can look at those type of ways, then you're making the process easier and you're making the decoding faster, because you're not looking at the whole expanse thing and getting caught up in the firmament.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get stuck in that type of jargon, because then you'll be stuck in this chapter and never want to move on. Looking at it as in ways of view, because that's what this Bible is made of, ways of view to explain the world.
Mm-hmm.
God is you, everything in is one. And that's
Yeah.
why we focus on one God.
And yeah, it's only one mind, right? But that's another thing. But a question you can always ask yourself is, when you're looking at a symbol, what is this based off of? You know, and usually it will point to something that is within you, you know, or within nature. Um, that's just a good exercise because it's easy to forget these things sometimes, you know. Even all the Hebrew letters, like they all have a meaning that you know what these things are. You know what I mean? Like for instance, hay represents the window. You know what a window is used for, you know, but it depends on like the context in which, you know, the window is spoken about. And it'll give you information that way, you know, because there's cards that represent houses, an ox, a door, a nail, you know. Um, but the key is that you have to stack meanings or stack symbols to arrive at a meaning, but not to go away from what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Okay.
this is basically what we were just covering into understanding what we was talking about, just the jargon. But did you really want to like break into this a little bit, or you want to go on to the next slide?
We could get into this a little bit.
Okay.
So this is basically the days of creation. Um, we can just start the first. In the beginning, all existed as one. And this is just a translation, a symbolic translation. So, you know, when you guys get a chance, go ahead and read Genesis 1 from beginning to end, and then come back to this and refer to it, take a screenshot, whatever have you. But I'll just read some of it. In the beginning, all existed as one, abstracts and ideas, non physical. Earth being without form and void is the idea of Earth existing before the manifestation of Earth. Everything physical has a non physical abstract existence that ranks higher than what is physical. The Spirit of God is conscious awareness. Here, water is formlessness. So I mean, basically, I think we wrote that out perfect.
Mhm.
And then once you go back, just for the sake of like how we're doing this, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. That's all it's really saying is that everything physical that you see existed has a non-physical form. So a good example is that think of a cup. So an abstract of a cup, we know what a cup does is used to hold something, you know. Um, it could be liquid, it could be a bowl of peanut M&Ms, but everybody in their head knows what you mean when you say a cup,
Mhm.
right? That idea of a cup, the abstract of a cup. Like where's the cup at though? And once it starts to become more dense, once an idea becomes more dense, it begins to start manifesting. So now you got these different pictures of cups. Does it have a handle, or does it have more than one handle? What color is it? Things like that. And then once you really leave the abstract down to the physical, you have a bunch of different possibilities of what a cup can be. But the abstract of what a cup is precedes, it's what's the word I want to say? It comes before, it's primordial. The idea or the abstract of something is primordial. And our genes, aka our DNA or our genome, is the abstract of who we are. But that's one way of looking at it.
Gotcha.
Um,
Real talk.
yeah, and so the second part, and God said, "Let there be light." This is the potential for form, the delineation of light and darkness. After this, God creates the firmament, separating the waters below from the waters above, and the firmament was called heaven. The beginning of form. So basically, once you have an abstract, oh man, I need something that can scoop this water up and hold it. You know, now you get into the concept of what it is that is going to hold this water. What is the form of it? So just think about your ideas when um, you got an idea, and then it starts to form. That forming part is just like all these ideas, you figuring out how you're going to actually physically make it and whatnot, you know. Um, and something important is that God said, "Let there be light." Light representing knowledge. So the knowledge of that abstract thing, you get what I'm saying? Like it's coming together at this point. This is the first step of it coming together. The abstract always existed, because that abstract is that grand symbol. So everything is pulling from this grand symbol, which is God, Elohim, the Hermetic principles, or what I'll just say is the divine mind. The mind is all. Uh, and then in the Bible it says, and God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light was good. And God divided the light from darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So you see, like, how, like, from reading the Bible and then reading our symbological interpretation, how much is lost, you know, from just reading the Bible, how much you're not going to get,
Yeah.
uh, you know, and it's just important to understand, like, what is it meant by void? What is it meant by darkness? You know, and just what was that like? Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. all of that is in there, you know. And we can keep going with this, or we can move forward if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, and then at the end of Genesis 1, that's when God rests. And one thing about this book, we all read it. At least Genesis 1 to 3, you know what I mean? So go back and read it on your own, start your practice. Um by no means are we the only authority for this information. Um,
Mhm.
we're just sharing our framework and what we enjoy studying. Um, and for this part, on the seventh day, God rested. This is a Sabbath or holy day. At this point, God has completed all aspects of their manifestation. I put there because we're talking about the Elohim, and the Elohim is a group of gods. And
Mhm.
creation is turned over to the will or the spiritual idea of God, Lord, which is Jehovah, which is I am, who is a man in the image of God. God creates Jehovah at Genesis 1:27. Jehovah, with the assistance of God, formed man of dust, which is earth, at Genesis 2:7. God creates and Jehovah forms. So right here, you got God, which is that abstract, and then from that abstract, you have the idea of man, which is Jehovah. Jehovah is the idea of man, but Jehovah is a man in the image of the grand symbol God. And from the form of Jehovah, with the abstract and the idea, man is formed. Manifestation happens. Now
Mhm.
you have creation, or I mean, is up for debate, but the created or creation, you know. Matter of fact, I would say it's still creation, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Um, and this quote down here, will directs the attention, and attention changes the vibration. Just a quote from the Kabbalah, and I think it's very powerful to reflect on. We can go to the next slide, though.
Remember, all is mind, mind is all. So
Okay.
the tree of life and the tree of good and evil are created as well. And Lord God, man, warned man that he would die if he ate from the tree of good and evil. Now, this is basically another law within itself because it's helping us understand the tree polarity. I mean the law of polarity, hot and cold, good and evil, left or right, right or wrong. So, and for us to understand that, we have to explain to you that the woman represents the soul and man represents his consciousness. And they are meant to work together, the atom, the mind, the atom, giving name to everything in his inner world and how we construct our reality through consciousness and how we can shape and mold consciousness. So there's two consciousness, the conscious mind and the unconscious mind. And that's what the soul represents, the unconscious. So most of the time we're not aware of our unconscious mind. And what is portraying that when we ate the tree, we shut off our unconscious mind because we was always led by soul. And since we did that, now we're run by conscious mind, you know? So that's why this chapter is happening within man, the inner world. If man is to eat from the tree of polarity, he will exist the inner world and exist in the outer world. So he already was resistant in spirit, but then eating this tree made him into two. So think of an androgynous being that was one, and then they got separated. What's your thoughts, Breeze? What's your thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I'm with you. that say again. Oh yeah. The tree of good and evil. Yeah. Once that, because you can just say, like we were saying, the tree of polarity. Once Adam ate from that tree, that is where that was the beginning of the fall. You know, honestly, you can say the fall started once Jehovah was created. You know, because the fall isn't. We're not saying it in what is it? The word like ecclesiastical terms.
Yeah.
um, the fall is kind of like a unfoldment. You know what I mean? It's a blooming, if you will. You know what I mean? Coming from that grand symbol out to a multitude of things, because the grand symbol represents everything. All is mind. So everything that's emanating from the mind, it's kind of like the divine mind is a acorn, you know, and it's the process of an acorn to a oak tree. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And this is just the beginning. This is like the cracking of the egg, you know?
You can say basically that's a split into two atoms.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, if you want to talk about like biology with genes, it's
Yeah.
like that process of mitosis, meiosis, where one cell just splits up and becomes another one. Just I mean, that's how we were,
Yeah. Would you
you
say
know?
would you say the tree of life is like that?
Yeah. I mean, it has a beginning.
Yeah.
You know, like the beginning of the map started somewhere and then it was mapped out. You know what I mean? It was the land was surveyed. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like if you will think of like the first map of the world. They had to go. You gotta go and get out. Go on and get, you know what I mean, to actually figure out what's what, you know what I mean, to actually draw that, you know, and be confident with, okay, I got a map of the world, you know, and the Kabbalah being, okay, I got a map of like consciousness, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Yeah. So now this next slide is basically understanding the first two, but now explaining how consciousness is ruling now instead of the soul, the unconsciousness. So introducing sense consciousness to serpent. Another way interpreting the serpent is understanding desire, sensation, or the activity of life, an external manifestation apart from the design source of life. So the conversation between Eve and the serpent represents the desire of the soul because woman represents the soul. So a lot of people always say, why did the serpent only talk to Eve? Why is it only involved the woman? Well, the woman is the soul, the representation, because you have Adam, which is the man, and his unconscious mind is the woman. Because what you're not aware of is your unconscious self is the other side of yourself. So inside of ourselves will be the inner woman, and inside the woman will be the inner man. That's the unconscious thing that it saw. So if it was reversed, it'll be the woman first, and then the man, basically, as the soul.
Right. If Eve was made first, it would be Adam talking to the serpent. Yeah.
Because Eve name literally means first.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it like that. So understanding that sensation, because we have to understand that sense consciousness is a spiritual, a divine thing, but the temptation got in the way and it diffuses that. So that feeling to feel, that feeling to understand experience is a divine thing, but it was something within the garden that caused that, or as you can say, within the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. And the also like the curiosity of the soul, you
mhm.
know, just wanting to experience, like you're saying.
Yeah, because they was ignorant. They didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And when you think about this quote we have from Genesis 3:16, The soul will have to wrestle and be at odds with the physical for generations, and the consciousnness will be in control of the soul. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow, thy conception, and sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thou shalt, and thou desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So instead of looking at this as the so-called toxic masculinity thing,
Right.
it's understanding that, as we said before, the man represents the conscious mind, the woman's the soul. So since there's been a whole type of wrestle between the soul and the conscious mind, our conscious mind is basically the flesh, right? And not to be negative, but that's understanding what they really try to tell us in the Bible. Don't be in flesh, don't walk in flesh, walk in spirit.
Hmm.
If you
And
walk in, go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say, when you say flesh, meaning sense consciousness, you
Mm-hmm.
know, wanting to, only rely on those five senses, to express, to experience the world, you know, but sometimes we get caught up in trying to find fulfillment through those senses, and basically through the senses is going further away from your soul. So that's what is meant when the soul will have to wrestle with, or be at odds with the physical. And what's meant by Genesis 3:16 is that, hold on, no, I'm losing my thought. Um Basically, the soul is that's the beginning of the war within man. The soul will continuously try to reformat the consciousness, and to remind the consciousness of the truth of its reality, because also the senses are have a symbolic meaning, you know and that's for us to unfold and unpack. Um but yeah, I feel like it was going off on tangent.
Nah, man, we was nah, you was man. You getting right into it. Now, when we get into the next part, this is really helping understand basically chapter 4 within Genesis. Understanding Eve and Adam have two sons, Cain and Abel. Cain was a tiller of the ground, representing the sense and the body. Abel was a keeper of sheep. He dealt with higher forms of consciousness. The sheep represents purity, obedience, and wealth. Also, the sheep can be related to Aries, the ram, ruling the brain, the Most High. Both brothers giving offerings to Jehovah. Abel offered the firstlings of his flocks, and Cain offered the fruit of the ground. Jehovah respected Abel's offering and not Cain's offering. Cain rose up against Abel and slew him, slimed him out, basically. This is the senses, outer work, dominating and shutting out spiritual consciousness, inner work. Every time a noble idea is denied expression, every time a desire to overcome an undesired habit is refused, then Cain kills Abel. Cain kills many Abels in us. At rebeltruthunity.com. And you should look that up. We got a lot of stuff coming from Charles Fillmore. He got into a lot of awesome things dealing with esoteric literature, especially around the Bible. Check out those audios. So, but what we really want to help you understand is that your higher self is always with you. And you can tap into that higher mind, but you're also the Cain to your higher self. You are your brother's keeper.
Hmm.
So don't deny the inner work. Don't rely on the senses to lean you towards that, because then you will always kill your soul, which you can't, but just talking into metaphors and getting into vibrations and lower consciousness. Your soul is infinite. Your soul is always with you, but you have to realize that. It's like saying that God is basically on the tip of your nose.
Yeah, yeah. And Genesis 4 is more it's a continuation of the unfoldment that took place in Genesis 1. um and I like how you mentioned you are your own brother's keeper,
Hmm.
and how Cain and Abel represents forces that are within us. How one part of us could feel that, Cain felt that he was going to find some type of fulfillment, um, or yeah, Cain thought that he was going to find some type of fulfillment by giving the Lord something that was basically sense based. So basically, that could be someone going through the motions of worship, doing all the quote unquote right things, dressing a certain way, eating a certain way, but it's not really supported by the soul. It's not really supported by um, like true purity from the soul. Um, and Abel kind of representing something that's more genuine, something that's not rooted in the physical, and how the physical basically always shuts out the urge for higher consciousness. Cain is kind of like always wanting to like be safe, not wanting to move forward, you know. And that's kind of like how we are when we want to uh, not meditate and think that we're going to read our way, or collect our crystals to God, things like that, or tarot our way to God. And once again, those things are directing you to God. They'll help you find God, but those things aren't God. God is something that's within. It's around you as well, but I promise you'll learn a lot more from meditating than from reading when it comes to spirituality. Because what you're searching for is what you are. You are that which you seek. And since
Same.
consciousness is basically almost like the Joker, it got you thinking that you exist somewhere where you don't, you know.
Now,
Ah,
get into this beautiful display of art right here. Speaking of tarot, now these are the three sons of Ham, right?
these are
Or
the three sons of Noah.
Noah. I'm sorry, yeah, and that's Ham. That's Noah's father, Ham, right?
This is wait,
Noah's father is Ham, right?
no, 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 no.
I'm saying trifling things.
Noah is the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Okay.
And this is my favorite slide because at the end of Genesis 5 it says, Noah had the three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And I would call these names phonetical epithets because, excuse me, they align with the three Hebrew letters Shin, He, and Daleth, and their corresponding major arcana cards, which is at the bottom, Eon, also known as Judgment, which is the element of fire, the Emperor, which is represented by Aries and Mars, and Venus, which represents the Empress. In astrology, when Mars and Venus are close to each other, there's clarity on purpose because you have actions aligned with love and responsibility, plus the element of fire in the situation representing intuition. a channel for the beginning of a great change. And so what you have here is um, either right after the flood or right before the flood. I think it's right before the flood. Um, and it's just signifying that it's a bit of a renewal, because when the flood happened, that was, once again, the formlessness engulfing everything. So it's almost like going back within. You know what I mean? You see what you got, and now it's time to work on it a little bit more. you know you consult with the ideas that you have and create something that is a little bit more refined. So that flood is kind of like the formlessness taking over again. You going back within to that the world of abstracts and ideas to create something new. All in short, you know.
Yes, and when you see this right here, when we was talking about Tarot earlier, this is beautiful symbology right in front of our eyes. And to you guys, it might seem like three cars and some paintings, but to us, what we see is three planets, three elements. Because remember, we talked about how the three mother letters. Then we talked about the seven double letters that represent the planets,
Hmm.
and then we talked about the 12 letters that represent the zodiac. And we see three zodiac signs right here. So that's just the beauty of symbology and what the Bible is helping us understand and the decodement. And this is helping us understand our hypothesis within Torah and Tarot. You know, his sons are literally named after the three mother letters. So
Or one of the mother leathers.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right. And also, his father was Lamech.
Right,
Lamech was 182. He fathered Noah, and that was the one to bring the relief from the curse. So
right.
but this is really the chapters of 1 through 5 of Genesis, and we have more to come with this beautiful book, and we have another book that helps us. It helps really explain the whole embodying thing and helping us understand our emotions. And it's called Supernatural, Becoming Supernatural. So we got that book coming along with Super Genesis, really helping us explain to you guys the embodiment of your supernatural body, your super gene within you that you have to activate. So unless you have anything else you want to cover, brother, um, we just got more to come.
Yes, sir. I think that's it. Yeah. Till next time.
Till next time, peace and love, every y'all.
Peace.